Hello, welcome back. This is another Inktober video. As you saw from the title, the prompt is Outpost. If you want to check out the previous two videos, click the icon above to go to the playlist. The last two drawings have turned out amazing. I was surprised by the results, so yeah, check them out. For this one I'm going back to something that's a little more familiar, drawing a forest but with a building. There is one big difference to this drawing than the rest, which you will see at a later point. So the method of just outlining the drawing wasn't really going to work everywhere because I am drawing grass. So I choose to first draw a patch of grass. Because of that new thing I mentioned I was going to do, I do not crosshatch the rocks in the drawing, I just give them form. But after the first patch I do move on to the trees because I now have a point of reference. Then I do a little bit more of grass and then I move on to outlining the house. You're not really going to see me work on the house. I forgot to press record when I was working on that, so sorry. This path leads up to the house. The trail is going to be aligned with some lovely roses. I give them a little bit of form, but not much, just the stem and the bottom parts of the petals. I will say at the beginning I had a hard time with the grass. It's not something I feel I have really mastered. I kind of tried different methods of this with the drawing. One of them was just drawing it, and then another was adding shadows to the grass and then making the blades. I think it turns out okay, but I feel like there's more to make it better. Then I add a fallen flower and some shadows to the grass here, and then I add some small bits to the grass on the right side of the trail with the stone. Now I begin working on adding details to the tree. I wanted the details to be similar to what I did in the background for my trees in the consumption drawing, but that wasn't really going to work here because the trees are a lot closer to the viewer than the ones in that drawing were. I just do a few trees and then I do most of them off camera. I'd say in total that those trees took about over an hour to make. I do work on more trees on camera, but these background ones just aren't very interesting. Right here is the cave and ritual area. I completely fill in the cave with ink. That's just what I've always done. Not sure if it's the best way to do it. You can see that there's a circle of small stones here and some pillars to each side of it. That's there to lead the viewer towards the idea of this being where a magical person lives. Of course there's a lot of grass growing. It is a bit high up from the ground. Maybe whoever lives here tosses things down or people down. Who knows? I add a bit of form to the rock and this place is done. In the past I have seen some trees with those things that look like tumors, I'm not sure if that's the actual name, and I wanted to add some just to see how it looked. It adds a little variety to the drawing. I added it onto the tree to the left too. You can also see that the trees I worked on off camera. Here for the shading I tried something I've done in the past, adding lines that go sideways in addition to shading and add some form to the drawing. Afterwards I do the same thing to the tree on the left. Here we get to the part what makes this drawing different from the rest, Copic markers. For this drawing I bought 5 new ones, 3 cool grays and 2 dark reds. Sadly, those dark reds look very familiar in small amounts. I go over the rocks with the lightest gray, then I add a bit to the next darker one, and finally the darkest one. The markers look a lot more blue than I had anticipated. The paper I am using is also cream colored and not white. In the future I'll either get neutral grays or the toner grays. I don't really know which one to get. The bad thing is I can't really test them out. Do you like the colors that I use and how it blends with the rest of the drawing? Let me know. Now we're at the final stretch of the drawing. I add texture to this tree. Off camera I add more trees to the background just to fill in the space. I design the trail. I add color to those roses. And then I add a bit of texture to the path. I wasn't too sure how to do the texture, so this is what I ended up with. Thank you for watching. Subscribe and ring the bell if you want to see more from me. Follow me on Instagram at redstrove. Leave a like if you liked. And with that, I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye. So for any of you that stuck around for this long, thanks. During the editing process, I decided I wanted to do things differently. I heard some feedback that maybe I should color in the sky, and general vibes that just wasn't spooky enough. And so I decided to use the 2 dark reds I got for this drawing to make the sky. And so here is the lighter darker red, and this is like the darker red. This is, of course, there's the light source, so I decided to do an even lighter red. I would have blended it in better, but I don't really have another marker for that. I colored the trees. Well, I think this is in E34, the light part, and then the dark part is the dark part. Sorry for that. Is in E49. I used the same color here for the house. Then I went over, I think this is a Y95 or YG95. Did that for the grass here and a little bit of shading here. And well, I guess the hardest part was the road. Since my browns ran out, I had to mix this on my own. It was a very hard process. Yeah, it was. I went over it with one of my browns, but then it ran out, so I went over it with an E34. Then I had to mix in some red, then more brown, and then some green to get this color. And so, yeah, let me know what you think of this version. Do you prefer the original one before this jump, or do you prefer this one? And so, yeah, this is the actual end. So, goodbye.